Buffalo at 5. So, Wayne, what you think about the list, and what teams would you change or put anybody switch around in there?
The crazy thing about it, Jalen, is, man, we got the same list.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. I was sitting over here, wanting to debate with you about the list and see, where yours stood and where mine stood. But we basically have the same list. Man. I'm like you, and then Kansas City undefeated.
Yeah,
you can't take that away from them. Baltimore, a team that has 2 losses that lost in the last quarter that they were winning the whole game, and then they with Kansas City is 1 toe on the line. And they're right there that could be undefeated.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But they've been playing the last 4 weeks. They've been playing better than anybody. They look like they figured it out with Derrick Henry, and they're just that team. Then you talk about Detroit. They got their foot on the gas as far as their offense.
Oh yeah,
and hadn't missed a beat with Aiden Hutchinson down. But the offense, man, Jared Goff has been playing at the MVP level
for sure,
and he has weapons.
For sure.
All around them. The line, they got linemen scoring touchdowns.
Yeah. Crazy.
So, they're that third team. Minnesota, they lost a game to Detroit, which they're in the same division with Green Bay.
Man, Green Bay looks good too.
And Chicago.
Yeah.
This whole division is over 500.
Yeah.
And, but right there, Minnesota and, Detroit, Minnesota. And these teams are going to get a chance to play each other again. And, and then they're going to get a chance to play Green Bay and Chicago. So these teams are going to kind of knock each other off. So you have that. And then, and like you said, so Minnesota, but Buffalo, this is a team that's playing well. Josh Allen been playing outstanding. And then they're going to get Von Miller back and Matt Milano on defense. So they're going to get even better. So, right now, I agree with your whole list, man.
Hey,
we on the same page.
Great minds think alike.
We on the same page. I wanted to debate with you, though. I wanted to say, oh, God, man, you got to throw them out and put this team in. But
no, for sure.
We right there together with the same list.
And that 5th spot was really the only – I feel like the first 4 are pretty solid, and that's kind of set in stone. That 5th spot was the only one that's up for debate. But I think even though Houston beat Buffalo, I think that Amari Cooper trade – push Buffalo over the edge because they needed a number 1. Well, that's what had Houston be able to beat Buffalo.
Well,
they didn't have a number 1.
Copycat league, okay?
Oh yeah.
So now the formula to C.J. Stroud is to blitz him.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't have anybody that can Tank Dell's not beating you down the field, and their main receivers is the big guy's hurt.
Yeah.
And he stretched the field.
Oh yeah.
So they've been blitzing him, and
O-line's playing terrible. So it's not gonna get better if they don't.
It's just a copycat league, so that's what they've been doing to him now. That's the formula. Hey, we're gonna step on his toes. We're gonna get to him.
Yeah,
and that's what they've been doing. So I was right with you. Texas was my field team, and then they moved out of it. I mean, and you can easily say Washington is around there. You
Green
can say
Bay.
Philadelphia is around there.
Mm-hmm.
It's some more teams, but I totally agree with you. Seattle, but my top 5 is the same one that you have.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty solid list, folks. Jump in the comments on YouTube or on Facebook. Let us know if it's any teams you think we're leaving out in this list. I think the list is pretty solid through and through. Like I said, that 5th spot was really the only one you could debate with like that. I guess some people might think Pittsburgh, but I'm not a fan of. I think they got to figure out what's going on at quarterback still.
Rocky Miller, don't you come with the Cowboy stuff? They're not even one of the top 20 teams in the league right now.
No,
Rocky Miller.
We know Rocky usually on there listening with us. So hey, Rock, don't bring the Cowboys up right now. Y'all got a game on Sunday. I want to talk about it in a minute against these 49ers. So we'll see how that goes. But that was a top 5 list, man. And to see Lamar winning and playing at the level that he's playing at, it's crazy to think that a 2-time MVP could be playing his best football still right now. And that's what we're seeing him do. 14 touchdowns, 2 picks so far on the season. He only had 24 touchdowns last year, and when he won MVP, he's already at about half of that right now. and we're not even halfway through the season. So to see the way that he's been playing and what Derrick Henry has been able to do for this team, I mean, it's honestly, even and Rocky said it here on Tuesday, it's honestly just an indictment on the Cowboys, especially when you got Jerry Jones coming out and saying stuff like he doesn't fit our scheme. Like, do good players not fit your scheme? Like,
I heard that, man. And so you will take Ezekiel Elliott over Derrick Henry?
Maybe Zeke must fit the scheme.
I mean, I didn't understand that either.
No, it don't make any sense.
And when we were talking about, during the off season, you take that season and you look at it and you yell out and you say, hey, well, this is what we need to fix.
Yeah.
Well, the Cowboys, they didn't have a running game last year, so, you go out and you fix that. You don't have defensive tackles. You don't have a defensive line. You have rushers, but you don't have anybody that can stop. You don't have a run stopper. So you go out and fix that. They didn't go out and fix any of that.
Any of it.
And then you want to say that Derrick Henry doesn't fit your scheme?
It's crazy.
Do you know what Derrick Henry would have done for their scheme?
Man, what he done for Dak?
Yeah.
What have done for this entire offense?
I really do think it's time for that guy to step down.
Yeah, he's got to. I think he's starting to get a little senile in his upper age or something is going on because he making headlines every week at this point saying something ridiculous.
You're threatening,
Yeah. Come on, man. Come on.
You're using your power the wrong way. But to make a statement like that, man, come on.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
And that's been played over and over and over again and laughed at over and over and over again.
As it should be. Yeah. Derrick Henry said he wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah.
He lived in Dallas his entire career. He's lived in Dallas, even with playing in Tennessee his entire career.
And the thing about that, Baltimore, before they tried to get Barkley.
Yeah.
They wanted a running back because they wanted to fix their game.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of their primary needs to go out. Let's go get us a top notch because they let Dobbins go.
Yeah.
Let Gus Edwards go.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to upgrade at the running back position. And that's what they did. And it has worked wonders for them.
Yeah. I mean, it's worked great for them. And like you said, that's what the offseason is for. If you go out there and you come up short.
You evaluate your team.
And you go out there and you make moves. And then you got people like Kansas City who's won back-to-back, and they're still going out and making moves.
And they're making trades. Right.
But the Cowboys thought they had a good enough roster, and that's why they're in the predicament that they're in now. So we'll talk about them in a second as we go through some of these games slated for this NFL weekend. It's week 8 in the NFL. I want to start with the game that's coming up. That's coming on in about 30 minutes here with the Rams taking on the Vikings. The Vikings coming off of a loss, their first loss of the season to Detroit. Now they've got a beat up Ram squad that looks like they're in a fire sale right now. They're shopping Cooper Kupp. The trade deadline is coming up quick, and they're shopping Cooper Kupp right now. I think Minnesota obviously should be favored in this game. Right now, only 2.5-point favorite. I don't know why. I thought it would be more, even worse than that, especially with the way that the Rams have been playing. But Minnesota the favorite in this game. What you think about this game coming on in a few minutes, Minnesota and Los Angeles?
I'm with you. Minnesota coming off a loss. But I think they can get back in the thick of things. They go out and take care of business against the Rams. Like I said, Rams team that's decimated by injuries. Their best receiver, both of their top 2 receivers are out.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just young.
Yeah.
And I would get an edge to Minnesota. So I think Minnesota will go out and take care of business tonight and get back on the right track.
Yeah, and like you said a minute ago, man, the NFC North, it seems like they have a chance for their whole division to make the playoffs if you're looking at it right now, because the worst team in the division is Chicago, who's sitting at 4-2 right now, and a chance to go out here and potentially knock off one of the top teams in the NFC because they play the Commanders on Sunday. So that NFC North is loaded, and Minnesota is proven to be good. They waited to see where they're a fluke, even with their loss. They didn't play bad in that loss. They just played a better team, in my opinion, in the Detroit Lions. So I'm expecting them to come out there and take care of business on Sunday. Another game I want to talk about, Houston coming off of a loss to another team in the NFC North, to Green Bay Packers. They've got the division rival this week in the Indianapolis Colts, who are surprisingly sitting at 4-3, even with their poorest quarterback play You could say that's why. I mean, Miami messed up my whole parlay last week, man. They were the only team in my 5-team parlay that lost and messed up the whole thing. I had Miami beating Indianapolis, and I thought it was going to work, especially when I seen Anthony Richardson didn't complete a pass in the first quarter. I thought that Miami would be able to go out there and get a win, but Indianapolis, one of these scrappy teams. They're sitting at 4-3 right now. They play the Texans on Sunday. Houston trying to rebound, like you said. There's a formula out now. You can beat up this Texans offensive line that's been a problem for us, and we keep having injuries on that offensive line. And right now they're vulnerable. They're vulnerable. Nico Collins is still out, and Houston coming off of a loss. What you think about this game, Houston versus Indianapolis? Really, this is for first place in the division right now. Houston at 5-2, Indianapolis sitting at 4-3 right now. Houston a 5-point favorite in the game. What you think about this one?
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one for Indianapolis. Indianapolis with Anthony Richardson can't throw the ball.
No, at all.
So when you give a Houston, which has a really good run defense, and they have just a really good defense overall, I think they'll be the deciding factor in this game. So I'm going to get an edge to Houston. And I think they can score enough points, and I think they can figure it out because they do have Stephon Diggs. They have Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
They have a good tight end, and they have some players. Tank Dell, I think, is going to have to come in and give them a little bit more in the wide out spot because at this point in time, Stephon Diggs is just a possession receiver.
Yeah.
He's not anybody that can go over the top like he was early on in his career.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they got enough offensive firepower to beat Indianapolis. So I'm going to get that to the Texans as well.
Yeah, I like Houston in that game. Well, obviously, but I like Houston in that game to be able to come out with the win. Like you said, I think controlling the ball, getting the ball to Joe Mixon. He had a good game last week in his first game back against Green Bay as well. So getting him back in the fold and just playing possession football. Don't turn the ball over, and I think we should be all right because Anthony Richardson is going to give you the ball at least a couple times.
Yeah.
Whether that be a fumble or a pick, he's going to give you the ball one way or another. So
yeah, and he's still trying to figure it out. He's still trying to figure the NFL out. And one thing that the defense coordinator's been doing is they've been confusing them.
Yeah.
Because they've been drop zoning and man zoning and doing a lot of hybrid stuff on defense just to confuse.
For sure. Yeah, I mean that's why it's tough. That's why I wouldn't pick a guy in the top 5 who had like 6 college wins.
Right.
In college, he only played one season.
How talented he is.
Yeah.
Maybe as a second rounder, we can develop him on down the line, but bring him in the starting
top 5 pick. Yeah, that's that. I thought that was a little bit of a stretch. So
you setting him up for failure. To me.
Yeah. Honestly, and then you sticking him right out there to start without sitting back and watching how an offense works for a year or two,
basically,
maybe.
He's just a running back right now.
Yeah.
At the quarterback position.
Exactly. That's exactly what he is. Because I don't know if he can complete a pass from me to you right now. he got a cannon. He got an arm.
Yeah.
He got an arm, but
accuracy. And knowing who to throw it to is
that's what the NFL is about. So I think we both got Houston in that one. I want to go to another NFC North team, Chicago Bears. This was supposed to be the rival of the number 1 and number 2 pick starting off this week. Not sure about Jalen Daniels' health right now. They're saying it's questionable, but I'm not sure. He got put out of the game last week. Marcus Mariota came in and took over, and they were able to still come out with the win. But this is a game that's honestly going to be big, especially when you talk about wild card positioning later down the season. Chicago's going to have to do that because they're not going to win that division, but they're looking like a wild card team right now. They're sitting at 4-2. Washington sitting at 5-2. Chicago's a 3-point favorite in this game. Yesterday when I was picking and going through the games, I picked Chicago in this one because I don't know if Jaden Daniels is going to play in this game, but that's something. He's going to be a game time decision, honestly, and that's why Chicago is favorite. I might have leaned towards Washington if Daniels was healthy, but if Daniels doesn't play, I'm definitely going to take Chicago in this one because even with Daniels, I think Chicago is a more talented team, even though I think Jaden Daniels is the better quarterback. So what do you think about this one? They're playing in Washington, Chicago versus the Commanders.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Chicago. Chicago has a top 10, a top 5 defense in every category.
Mm-hmm.
So they're playing outstanding on defense.
Yeah.
Without Jaden Daniels, I don't think the Commanders even have a chance.
Yeah.
And as far as the Chicago offense, I think Caleb Williams is getting it together. Yeah. And they're coming off a bye week.
Mm-hmm.
So you've had 2 weeks to plan for this team. So if you don't bring your A game during the bye week and be prepared, then you're going to have a long season for real. So I'm going to take the Chicago Bears coming off a bye week.
Yeah, I like the Bears in this one. And last time you seen them, like you said, coming off a bye week, last time we seen them was in London. Caleb Williams went 23 for 29, 4 touchdowns and 200 yards. So,
right.
I mean, he's starting to figure it out. As the offense is starting to make more sense to him. The reading defenses is starting to make more sense to him. And he's just letting the guys out here be talented. They got a talented team.
Yeah, he looked comfortable.
Yeah.
He looked very comfortable his last game. You know, they played the Jaguars.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I could look comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know, the more experience he gets, the better off that Caleb looks. And I definitely take Chicago. I think their defense is going to be really tough on Washington, and it's going to win that side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And I pick Chicago.
Yeah, I like Chicago on that one. They're 3-point favorites, so I definitely would get in on that before they up it, especially if Jaden Daniels, if they figure out he's not going to play, that's going to be more like a 6 or 7 point spread, so you better get in early. The Sunday night game, obviously one that everyone wants to talk about, the historic rivalry game, Dallas Cowboys taking on the 49ers. Both of these teams coming in right now on a downtrot. Cowboys, last time we saw them, they were getting destroyed, honestly, by the Detroit Lions. San Francisco just coming off of a loss against Kansas City again, a team that they just cannot beat, haven't been able to beat in the entire Patrick Mahomes era since 2019. And they're honestly just getting more and more beat up. Deebo Samuels has been hurt. He went out in last week's game. Got the news Brandon Ayuk is probably going to be out for the season. Juwan Jennings has been hurt. We still haven't seen Christian McCaffrey this entire season, even though they said he was going to miss like the first 3 games. Here we are on week 8, and there's not even a timetable on when he's going to come back. So looking at this game, both teams honestly coming in beat up. Both teams coming into this game beat up. Dallas is beat up confidence-wise. They still haven't figured out a running game. And the San Francisco 49ers defense is still good, regardless of all the injuries they've had on the offense, regardless of Brock Purdy not playing good football right now. Their defense is still considered a top defense. They still got, as long as you still got Fred Warner and you still got Nick Bosa out there, I think you're going to have a recipe for having a top defense for that team. So this game is on Sunday Night Football. San Francisco is a 4.5 point favorite. I like San Francisco in this game, but just to play devil's advocate, if Dallas is going to have any chance of turning this season around, this is a team you got to take advantage of while they're down. You have to try to kick a team like the 49ers who have had your number for the last 4 or 5 years. This is the time you got to try to get them, is kick them when they're down, because right now we don't know who the 49ers are even going to put out there at receiver. We know the Mason kid is still in a running back. They still don't have McCaffrey. Purdy hasn't been playing good football. I'm interested to see is Mike or D-Law going to come back in this game. I don't think DeMarcus Lawrence is slated to come back, but right now Micah Parsons is questionable. So I'm interested to see if he can come back and make an impact in this game. But this is really just a battle of the 2 beaten up teams. San Francisco sitting at 3-4, Dallas at 3-3. So both of them have implications on why they want to win this game. So who do you like in this one on Sunday Night Football, Dallas and San Francisco?
Well, I'm with you again, Jalen. I'm going to take San Francisco at home. I think they have the better defense.
Yeah.
I think Shanahan has a reputation for doing some things and making things work. Now that we know that Brock Purdy can't carry a team by himself.
Yeah.
He has to have those weapons, so I'm a little curious about him. But on at the same point, Dallas is coming off a bye week where they had time to prepare for San Francisco. And the San Francisco team that's beat up, like you said. So Dallas has a chance to win.
Yeah.
But I'm picking San Francisco. And I'm picking San Francisco because I think they have a better and more stable defense that's going to turn the field, and they'll be able to kick field goals. I don't even see Dallas scoring 21.
Yeah. I would be shocked if they got to that. They would have to force some turnovers. Purdy's been turning the ball over. So you can try to get out there and get some turnovers. But right now, who is a playmaker on this Dallas defense? With Micah Parsons not being out there.
They don't have one. And with San Francisco still having a dominant offensive line and the Cowboys being a little soft and don't have deep tackles.
Yeah.
I think San Francisco formula for winning would be running the ball and just running it down their throats.
Yeah.
And throwing to Kittles.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and Kittle's still out there for this team, and he's going to get a load of the targets because who else can you throw the ball to right now? Debo and Juwan Jennings still questionable coming into this game. Jordan Mason got beat up a little bit in that game as well, but if he goes out there and plays, I'm taking Jordan Mason on the over on whatever his number is because I think it's going to be a heavy dose of – Kyle Shanahan knows what works against this team. If they haven't beaten anybody else, they've beaten the Cowboys over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and he's got Cowboys figured out. The Cowboys don't have San Francisco figured out. And every time it's just been a complete blowout. It hasn't been close.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm definitely going with San Francisco. So.
Yeah, we both like San Fran in that one. Last game I want to ask you about before we get off of here, Buffalo and Seattle. This is actually a really good game for two teams that aren't in the same conference, but two teams that are trying to trend upward. The Buffalo Bills definitely trending upward. Seattle lost 3 in a row, but got back in the win column last week. And the thing that was refreshing to see is that they're getting the ball to DK Metcalf. That's always been my biggest issue with the Seattle team is I don't understand why they can't. I don't know if it's DK or if it's the offense, but for some reason they have trouble getting DK Metcalf the ball, and he's somebody that can take the top off of defense, which he did last week against the Atlanta Falcons. They got a good win against the Falcons team that we all think is pretty decent, and they beat them 34-14 in that game. So if Geno Smith can come out here and play good, I think it's going to be a lot on this passing game. The only weakness to the Buffalo Bills right now is their secondary because they lost a lot of the guys that they had in their secondary with Tre'Davious White. They let him go. He's in Los Angeles. They didn't re-sign Jordan Poyer or Micah Hyde, who's been the staples of their secondary at the safety position. So they're really the only weakness on this team because they still got a good run defense, still got a good front seven. The weakness is in this passing game. So I think Seattle has a chance to win this one, and they're at home in this game taking on the Buffalo Bills. But right now, with the way that Josh Allen is playing, I can't pick against Josh Allen. Right now, the Bills are a 3-point favorite. I like the Bills in this one on Sunday. They're playing a 3:00 game. They're playing in Seattle, and we know how that 12th man can get. So I wouldn't be shocked at all about Seattle coming out here and winning a game like this, especially if they can find a way to attack that secondary that Buffalo has. But Josh Allen's playing at an MVP level right now, and you got guys like you add somebody like Amari Cooper, who scored a touchdown last week on a play that he didn't even know. They had to tell him to play in the middle of the play, and he still ended up scoring the touchdown. I think Buffalo is just in a good rhythm right now. Who do you like in this game, Buffalo and Seattle on Sunday?
Well, I'm going to take Seattle.
Okay, yeah.
Buffalo flying across country.
Yeah.
Man, which is a long flight, man.
Long flight from Buffalo to Seattle.
In 2 different time zones.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, which is it's going to be a 3-hour time difference.
Yeah.
I think that's going to make the difference. And then and then Seattle playing at home is really tough.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, the 12th man. But I think Geno, Walker the third. I think them and DK Metcalf, they have enough on offense.
Mm-hmm.
They made a big trade as far as defense is concerned this week. So we'll see. But and like you said, it's hard to bet against Josh Allen because he's probably playing his best that he's ever played.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
he's
for
sure.
Been a leader, and I mean he's getting it done a multitude of ways, throwing it, running it, you know, whatever he has to do. But I'm gonna take Seattle. I'm gonna take Seattle at home, plus the points. So I'm with Seattle this.
Yeah, I mean, I like that pick. It's tough especially playing out there in Seattle, and that time difference is definitely going to be a factor in that game. If they can find a way to stretch the field, they definitely have a chance to pick up a good win. And Seattle right now, first place in the NFC West, and it's looking like they're going to have control of that division if San Francisco can't get healthy and all the injuries that they sustained over the last few weeks. So this is going to be a big one for Seattle moving forward, especially with them trying to stack up wins as much as they can while San Francisco is down right now. Folks, I want to thank everybody for tuning in with me today. We're getting ready to get off here for today. I want to thank Wayne for jumping on here with me like he does each week in, week out. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. The pregame show is starting at 6:30. La Vega versus Robinson, a top matchup not only in Central Texas but in 4A Division II. Make sure you guys subscribe to YouTube as always, Centex Sports Network, Centex Sports TV on YouTube, and download the app, Centex Sports One app. We will see you guys tomorrow for the pregame show, La Vega Pirates versus the Robinson Rockets. Thanks once again, and we will see you guys. Good night.
Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. Catch all your in-depth sports analysis with the best. The hottest sports show in the evening is Centex Primetime, hosted by Jalen Gillis. Act like y'all.